Hi, with the various skills that we have learned so far in terms of how to handle customers, how to speak effectively with them, how to convince them for a particular situation, and all that, we now need to look at certain mannerisms that we need to maintain when it's time to take a phone call, especially which contributes to our professional environment. So let's look at quick pointers, like a list of do's and don'ts about telephone etiquette. Yes, there is something called telephone etiquette. Like you have table etiquette, you have meeting etiquette, you have room etiquette. Similarly, you have telephone etiquette. And telephone etiquette is essential and is usually seen in people who work for uh, call centers, who work in any of the calling related processes. So let's quickly glance through what should be done on an ideal phone call, which can be termed as a professional phone call. All right. So the first point I would say is greet the customer with a lot of energy and enthusiasm, so that you don't sound sleepy or lazy, irrespective of whatever shift you are doing when you are working business as usual in the office. And the second point would be take the name of the customer, not too often, but maybe after two or three questions or two or three sentences here and there. Towards the entire length of the call, it's recommended that you take the name of the customer at least thrice. Uh, the third point is acknowledge each and everything that the customer says, because there is no visibility on a phone call. Whatever you say is only what goes as conveyed. Hence, you need to say yes. Just shaking your head like this does not mean your customer is going to get it as a yes, or he would understand that you have got what he said. Apart from that, there are various acknowledgements that are very pertaining to particular situations, which should be relevantly delivered on a call. Apart from that, the fourth point is what needs to be maintained in telephone etiquette is avoid a lot of repetition. Try and get what the customer is saying in the first instance. Sometimes when there would be a bad line or the customer is talking too fast, you may want to ask him to repeat, but that should not be overdone. And the fifth point in the right type of telephone etiquette is smile when you're talking. The smile is heard. See how I sound different now? Alright, now let's look at something that you got to avoid on a telephone call, which also forms a part of the telephone etiquette, but then it would be classified as don'ts, or you should not be doing all these things as listed. Number one, do not use the mute button if you are taking time on a call to search for information or anything else. The mute button is ideally supposed to be used only when your conversation is interrupted with a situation like a bad throat that you may have, or you may get an occasional cough or a sneeze. That's when you use the mute button. Other than that, refrain from using the mute button. Second is avoid multiple interactions. That is, when you're talking to the customer, focus on the call, focus on the conversation, not on the people around you, because you are not going to be the only one when business is as usual in the office. Third, make a note so that you can avoid the customer from asking the same question again and again. So I would say that as do not let the customer repeat unnecessarily. One way of effectively doing this is making notes while you're on a call, especially with those customers who give you long stories. And fourth point would be, do not stretch the call too long. Okay, keep it short and simple so that your AHT is maintained and the customer gets a resolution as soon as possible. And overall, finally, keep your stats in mind, keep your process guidelines in mind, deliver only what is essential, and maintain a professional relationship along with a smile on your face. Happy calling. Thank you.